Coming up on Mountain News at 6, a lawsuit is filed against the mayor of Prestonsburg, accusing him of verbal and physical sexual assault against a former city employee, and there is breaking news. We'll have all the latest. Plus, the FAFSA application form is causing problems for students and colleges. We hear from one regional education leader about what's causing the issues.
Plus, a first alert for cold air by next week. Your forecast on the way as Mountain News at 6 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
We begin this half hour with a developing story we've been following today out of Floyd County. A lawsuit has been filed against Prestonsburg Mayor Les Stapleton. The lawsuit accuses him of sexually assaulting a former city employee. In that lawsuit obtained by WYMT, it claims Stapleton sexually harassed the victim both verbally and physically by, quote, engaging in severe, pervasive, inappropriate, and unwelcome sexual conduct, end quote. The lawsuit claims Stapleton told the victim her job security relied upon her willingness to listen to his requests for sexual favors. Stapleton, who's been the mayor of Prestonsburg since 2014, and the city of Prestonsburg itself have been named as co-defendants in the lawsuit. We have reached out to Stapleton for comment today, but he has not responded. Now, a special city council meeting was called for 5:30 this evening. We do have a reporter there and understand it has just wrapped up, and the breaking news at this hour is that Les Stapleton has resigned as mayor of Prestonsburg. Our reporter is gathering more information. We hope to have more about this possibly later in the newscast and certainly on our website later and tonight at 11. But again, the breaking news is that after this lawsuit was filed today against Prestonsburg Mayor Les Stapleton, he has resigned. We understand a letter was read at that city council meeting. Again, we hope to have more on this a little bit later on. A preliminary hearing for the man involved in an officer-involved shooting in Laurel County happened earlier today. Dylan Sutherland was charged with 4 counts of attempted murder of a police officer last month. The case will be heard by the Laurel County Grand Jury on April 19th. Artwork created for a Madison County fundraiser is missing. The president of the Madison County Historical Society says the paintings were stolen. The Historical Society hosted a fundraising auction this past Sunday. 7 paintings created by 5 different artists were supposed to be auctioned off, but only 5 made it to auction. Each painting was of a different historical church in Madison County.
They would have had to know what they were looking for, I guess, because they were in a large folder altogether. And it is strange that only 2 were taken.
Anyone with information about the paintings can contact the Madison County Historical Society or the Richmond Police Department. Several bills to deal with the rising trend of self-driving or autonomous vehicles are moving through the legislature. Today, the state Senate took up a bill that deals with regulation of cars and trucks that operate on their own. A House panel also advanced a measure calling for more study of them. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on the legislation.
The vehicles we drive today already have a whole lot of new things that we didn't have just a few years ago, such as driver assist, the camera that will see what's behind you and shown on the dashboard. And now there are some possible new laws that could deal with not even having a driver in this seat at all.
So that we as members of the General Assembly can stay on top of these issues because they are very fluid.
The House Transportation Committee passed a resolution to set up a task force to study self-driving cars.
Technology is continually evolving, and in order for us to stay on top of it, I think we need to have regular briefings on it.
That resolution passed unanimously, but another bill dealing with the regulation of self-driving cars and trucks has been a bit more controversial. The House passed a bill to set up a regulatory framework for self-driving cars and trucks, but some are concerned because they see the technology is taking jobs away. The issue is being debated in many other states across the country.
We know that many states have already passed similar legislation allowing these things. We know that driver rather than truck routes with semis from Texas to Florida using autonomous vehicles.
House Bill 7 would deal with law enforcement, insurance, and liability issues. It passed 61-31 in the House and was on the Senate orders of the day Monday and Tuesday, but was passed over.
It's a big emerging market, and my big issue is safety.
Lawmakers say that 29 other states and the District of Columbia have laws already dealing with this. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The resolution passed in the House setting up an autonomous vehicle task force, which will also include discussion about AI. The meetings will take place this summer and fall with recommendations for lawmakers in December. A House committee approved a bill this afternoon dealing with school choice. House Bill 2 calls for a constitutional amendment to fund charter schools. That puts the decision for school choice in the voters' hands. It would go on the November ballot. The bill now goes to the full House. It would then need approval in the Senate before going to the governor's desk. A bill to help first responders find missing adults is moving forward in Frankfort. Senate Bill 45 would establish the Ashanti Alert. It would help spread information on missing adults who fall outside of the Amber Alert system. The bill passed in the Senate and now heads to the House floor.
Well, check out this awesome live image from Buffalo Mountain from Perry County. We are dry, not a cloud in the sky on this Tuesday. That current temperature up to 66 degrees. So once again, we are above average on this Tuesday as well, up to 67 for Clintwood, also in Grundy, and same story in Jackson, up to 70 for Harlan and 69 over in Clay County for Manchester at this hour. And this nice weather is all thanks to an area of high pressure sitting over northeastern Tennessee, and that will bring some more dry conditions as we go into this evening. But once the sun sets, those temperatures are going to be chilly. We fall into the upper 30s and lower 40s as you wake up on your Wednesday. Some more mainly dry weather is on the way by Wednesday. We also stay mild into this weekend, but we are tracking those higher rain chances by late Thursday, also into your Friday. And once we get through this weekend, the big story by next week, we are cold. Highs back in the 40s, lows in the 20s by Monday and Tuesday of next week. Those details plus your full 7-day forecast coming up in just a little bit. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thank you. The executive director of Apple Shop in Whitesburg says he plans to leave the organization before the end of the year. Alex Gibson has held that position for nearly 10 years. In a release, Gibson says, quote, "It's been an honor to work alongside the talented staff, artists, and communities that make Apple Shop so special." The organization's board of directors will conduct a search to find Gibson's replacement in the coming months. We have more about this at WYMT.com. The free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, has received more than 3 million applications since it underwent a revamp last year. The goal was to make the applications both easier for families to complete and to make sure students get the amount of aid needed to attend a higher education facility. WYMT's Madison Carmouche has more from a regional education leader.
The government's goal in updating the FAFSA application was to make it simpler, but many folks are experiencing hiccups.
And even once they complete it, there are still major processing delays. This is causing many students and colleges to not be able to get the vital information that they need to calculate federal aid for students to go to college.
With the delay in processing, students may not hear from colleges until late spring, but officials say they should not be discouraged.
So what we're doing right now at the colleges is we are encouraging students to go ahead and get that application completed. There's been some misinformation out there that perhaps students should even wait longer to complete that FAFSA. That's not the case.
The new application opened on December 30th with an additional $1.8 billion in aid available to students.
It will also change the way that federal aid is calculated. So people who may not have been eligible for federal aid in the past may now be eligible due to the new calculation.
Dr. Linden says that if students have concerns about the form, they should reach out to financial aid and admissions officials.
The community and technical colleges, we have always been concerned about affordability and accessibility, and this does not change that.
In Hazard, Madison Carmouche, WYMT Mountain News.
The FAFSA application for fall of 2024 closes on June 30th at 11:59 p.m. This morning, leaders gathered for the 56th Governor's Prayer Breakfast. Governor Andy Beshear focused on his last 4 years in office and how his faith has helped him through obstacles. The governor was also joined by Jewish and Muslim leaders who talked about coming together as a state. Former UK point guard Dominique Hawkins was one of the keynote speakers. He shared how faith played a role in his life.
At the state of Kentucky, we need to just come together, smile at each other, show love.
The theme for this year's prayer breakfast was Forward Together in Faith, Empathy, and Compassion.
Well, we are dry this evening, all thanks to high pressure, but that next rain chance is not far away. Those details after this break.